Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I am Mounty Curl, and welcome to a State of the Game recap, and we have a couple of things we want to talk about. As you can see, I am actually on PC this time around, and we are going through the best part of the game once again, the part that actually isn't the part that ruined this game. This is the beginning portions, and it is actually a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. As you can see, we're going through Lincoln Tunnel checkpoint, so we're just going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to go ahead and work our way back up to 30 and go through the most enjoyable portion of this game as we go ahead and recap the state of the game. So first things first, this is the state of the game recap for 5.11, and we're going to go ahead and talk about some other stuff, so go ahead and skip ahead if you don't want to listen to the state of the game recap, because we're going to be talking about the survival battle royale that I suggested quite a while back, and it's now making its rounds around the YouTubes, and it's making its way around the Twitters and all of that, and it's starting to gain popularity. There's actually a petition out there now to make that happen, and some people are thinking that it'll happen in 1.8, but that is not the case. It's going to take a little something to get that happening. I'm going to go ahead and gander that if it did happen, it wouldn't happen till 1.9, and it would be just the only thing that would happen in 1.9. So let's go ahead and jump into the state of the game recap. First things first, PTS is closed, and they got some good feedback. I'm not going to say they got a whole lot of feedback, because for the few people that were actually playing it max at any one given day, there were probably about 16 people playing it, so that's not a whole lot to really get things tested. So I'm going to guess that while we go into this 1.6.1, there's going to probably be a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches and stuff like that with the loadouts. People are going to really hammer that hard. There's about, on average, 4,000 people on PC playing every day, so the numbers on PC have actually still stayed stable. It's just the PTS that was really down, and during that live first weekend where it was free, there was actually a lot of people, and it shows that Ubisoft has probably closed down a lot of the Division servers for now, but they'll probably be opening them back up once 1.6.1 comes online, but you might see a queue or two every once in a while. But they did get good feedback, and they're very happy that they could implement the inventory expansion, and that it was apparently not a huge issue to deal with, and they got a lot of good testing, and there weren't any real big bugs that came out of it, at least not until now. But there's a chance, because people are going to start hammering on this once the 4,000 people get into it, and not 16. So I mean, 16 is actually probably less people than the amount of testers they actually had go over it. And this is one of those ones where 1.6.1 really needed the bonus addition of the console players, and so hopefully 1.7 is going to have console. So they're going to go ahead and finalize the build now, and it will be ready in the next couple of days. They're going to ship it off to Sony and Microsoft for verification. So right now, if you're going to ask me when the release date is, I'm going to go ahead and say May 23rd, which is 2 weeks, approximately a week from Tuesday, or it is going to be the 30th, which is 2 weeks. It really depends on how fast Microsoft and Sony get this through, but those are the dates that I can go ahead and guarantee that it's going to be. They said May, so I'm going to go ahead and, barring any major issues, it's going to be either the 23rd, which is the closest date, or the 30th, which is the furthest date in May. Okay, ETF Charlie, they have sent emails out. Once again, I'm going to tell you this. I did not sign up for ETF Charlie 1, probably because I didn't care to go, because there's not a whole lot to talk about at this point. Like, I'm not interested in talking about 1.7 unless they're going to listen to the basically what we want to add to it. But really what they're doing is they're just getting additional information from people and asking them for what they want to see in the Dark Zone in the coming months. But that's not what I want. I want to talk about Survival Battle Royale. There have been 12 people invited. If you didn't get an email, you weren't invited. There will be surveys and daily updates for the general public, and they can't stream ETF or because the NDAs and stuff like that. But there will be no state of the game during ETF Charlie, and members of ETF Alpha and Bravo will also be included in the discussions, although really this should be a community discussion, not just a ETF. Because there you go, you're separating your player base, and you're just including people like YouTubers and people who are really outspoken in the community, and not the people that really matter that much. It's, you guys have such bad ideas at times, and this is one of them. You need to make the discussion as a whole for the whole community, especially the people that are still playing the game. I guarantee there are people that are going to ETF Charlie just for the fact that they want to go to ETF Charlie, not because they're interested in playing the Division anymore. But that's, that's all speculation. But let's go ahead and jump into talking about making survival the battle royale that survival could be, and the saving grace of the Division. I tweeted out, if you follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. Just go to Twitter. You don't have to interact with me or anything like that. Just follow me, because I post a lot of stuff there that I don't post in my YouTube channel. But the one thing that I probably posted about 5 or 6 weeks ago, maybe even further back. It was before PlayerUnknown's Battle Royale command, and it was mainly because I had seen, a lot of survival, and I had listened to a state of the game back when 1.3, 1.4 was coming out, right before survival was coming out. And it was really interesting to me that they went the route of just the extraction for survival when they could have done so much more with the survival element. And when I went into it and I started seeing games coming out like these battle royale games like the culling and stuff like that, and really the culling is actually responsible for me thinking about survival in this way. It wasn't PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, although PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is hugely popular right now. H1Z1, King of the Kill, those are really popular games. And making survival more of a battle royale style game is going to actually be a much bigger thing, especially when you have things like, pistols, and it's gonna, but basically what I would do, this is what I would do. I would take survival. I would not change anything about survival except making the spawns random, and I'm gonna go ahead and cover a couple reasons why Survival Battlegrounds will never happen in survival in this, basically in this portion of the game, because it would take a little bit of tweaking, and it would actually be it would be difficult to do, and I'll talk about why those challenges need to be overcome and what we can do to try and overcome those challenges. But basically, you would start off, it would drop you in, like, you'd have the plane crash, everybody would start in a random location, you'd start with a pistol, or even nothing, you could start with nothing for all I care, but basically you would need to add ammo into the game, you would need to add in outside crafting tables, because this is the one thing that I can see that would prevent Massive from actually making this happen, and that is interior buildings, being able to go into safe houses. They need to eliminate that. That would be the one thing they would need to eliminate. They would need to eliminate a lot of the roaming mobs. Honestly, I would actually keep the mobs in there. I think that they add something to a survival style game. And then, so basically the overall factor would be that the storm is coming in, and so they would need to get rid of the freezing to death outside type of thing. They would need to get rid of all the barrels, all that stuff, and basically make it so that the circle that you need to stay in is the freezing cold temperatures that are coming in, and basically act as the part of me. That's my wife in the background. She's coughing. I don't know what hopefully she's not dying, but I'll get out and check on her in just a moment after this. But anyways, back to this. So the issue here is that the circle that you would need to stay in, and this is what would push players together, is the freezing cold temperatures. It would basically be a freeze wall, and it would basically need to go through buildings, it would need to go through anything that was there, and it would need to basically freeze over anything. And you could actually, what we could do is add in clothing options, so that clothing actually increased your longevity when you were outside of this circle. That way, if you were sprinting and you got caught in it, you would actually, if you were wearing warmer clothes, you would actually be able to, withstand it a little bit longer than if you were wearing less clothes. That would be one of the elements that they would need to change. But the elements really are needed. The base elements are there. They would need to change a whole lot. And it would, basically you would need outside crafting tables. You wouldn't be able to go into safe rooms. You would need, squad-based play, or you could do single, solo play, and basically end up with a random selection of circles every time. You would need to get rid of the crafting of the face mask in order to get into the dark zone. It would just need to push you into the dark zone where you could go into the dark zone or anything like that. They would need to get rid, there's a lot to do this. This is why I said it won't happen in 1.7. It would never happen in 1.8. There's just not enough time to go ahead and rework an entire game mode like this to make it realistic. And if they did make it, it would be a completely separate game mode, which would be fine. That they could do that. but it's not going to happen overnight. And so I'm saying that if they did do this and they decided to do this, it would definitely revitalize the Division with as popular as the Battle Royale games are these days, and it would actually bring people back. The other thing that they would need to do is they would need to figure out the armor stuff and, you know, basically reduce the amount of hits that it would take to kill somebody, or put them in a down state or something to that effect, because that is really what needs to happen. Is that they would need to get rid of the down state. It would have to be a straight kill, and they'd need to come up with some sort of storyline to make it fit into the game. Now, with all that said, there is the slightest chance that it could. And you know, I tweeted just to Matt Chacha, and I've been tweeting to him and telling him that they need to do this for a long time now. So it's very possible that the internal discussions that they're having revolve around this. And I mean, it's not a bad idea. Everything, you know, there's a lot of really good games out right now that are kind of focused on this, and they would need to figure out a way, whether it was, I mean, they could go, you know, move around the weapon, you know, issue, where they could do, you know, place boxes. It would be random boxes, random crates, random, you know, something like that, to where people would be able to go around and find stuff inside, find stuff outside, find stuff on the street. They would need to eliminate, you know, drops from enemies and stuff like that, or actually create drops from enemies. But it would need to basically focus on reworking the entire system, and it's going to be real difficult to do. So I'm not 100% sure. I would love for them to do it. I would love to hear an announcement about it, but right now even 1.9 isn't even a guarantee that they're going to do that, because they're basically saying 1.8 is the last episode that's going to happen this season, which is scheduled for like September or October. This would be a huge surprise if they did it, but I'm not going to go ahead and guarantee anything. It would be great if they did, but we shouldn't get our hopes up. I would love, you know, dare to dream. People out there, dare to dream, because that is going to be, you know, this is going to be the hot ticket. If this comes around, you will see a flood of people coming back to the Division, and not a lot of people playing anything else, because this is going to be, you know, it's something that creates the longevity that we've been looking for in the Division, to keep it on past year 2, past year 3, and people will come back and play this because the freshness of going through it every single time. And it wouldn't even matter. You could actually do a 30-person server in the Division, because the maps are small. I've definitely run into my fair share of people while I've been doing survival and stuff like that, but that's really what it's about. So anyways, that's my time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching the State of the Game. We're going to go ahead and have a vendor reset video sometime. I'm sorry, May has been a rough month for me. I've been on not vacations, but I've been on business trips. I've been in Orlando. I've been in South Carolina. I'm going to be in New Orleans next week. You know, work has got me really tied up, so these Division videos are really, you know, coming few and far between, but I guarantee you I am still bringing out them and getting them to you guys as much as possible. So for that, I thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on wherever. I have a Facebook group where I occasionally post these videos. It's kind of dead right now, so if you're interested in you know getting your page up or anything like that, go ahead and post on video. I'm working with a couple other YouTubers to help them get their channels set up, and so you might see a little bit more of their content. Infamous is still a very big part of this channel at times, whenever I have a chance to get some of his videos up, and even he is, you know, we're trying to shift a little bit away from the Division. We're still playing the Division, but we're trying to shift away from it a little bit, because it's not as big as it was back when we were posting videos every day. But we're moving towards, you know, other games. You've been seeing a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on my channel, because that is the stuff that I enjoy right now. I'm going to be trying to bring you, you know, some Counter-Strike, some Rocket League, whatever I could possibly bring you. And I've been doing a lot of giveaways. If you're listening to this right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a $10 Xbox gift card code in this message, because actually Darkfather, one of my subscribers, he constant player of mine, he actually subscribes, and he actually won a copy of Street Fighter 4 in one of my videos, because I've been putting random codes in the videos that you guys don't even know about. So if you watch the entire video, you might actually find a $10, $30, or whatever card code in there. I've been dropping them in randomly. They're not in every video, but they're in most of the videos. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. For all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, I am Matty Curl, and we'll see you guys next time. Agent out. Oh, also, I've been streaming. I've been streaming a lot. So catch me in the stream. Follow me on Twitter because that's where you'll find out where I'm streaming. So I'm going to try and stream some Division later too. So you guys can watch me as I climb the ranks from level 1 to level 30. So anyways, thank you very much. Agent out.